It's here, it's hectic. Shout out to the big dog, yeah, it is Eric. You know, on this game, man, you know it goes down. Shout out to my home skiller, 2-3 JT Brown. Oh, yeah, you know how the man goes. Here we go, come on.
Because I let go black, bro. I'm like, yo.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You know what? Leroy! Down with OPC.
Yeah, you know me.
Down with OPC.
Yeah, you know me.
Down with OPC.
Yeah, you know me.
Down with OPC.
Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
You're the man, Doc.
We're going to turn that affiliate into a partnership real soon, aren't we?
Yes.
Working hard.
Charging stud, charging stud, charging stud, charging stud. Yes! Yes! You pray! You pray!
What is that? Wait, what is that? I'm a Twitch fucking partner! Oh my god! Are you serious?
Hello, my name is Drew, and I would like to be the first one to welcome you and say thank you for joining us on the OPC podcast. If you could just do us a favor and tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Earl Fabian. People know me as Earlmeister. I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm also the stream team manager for Simplicity, and I play mostly card games, and I'm known for my aggressive style in CCGs, and basically, that's about it.
It's incredible, like the traction you've been able to gain while you've been gaming, playing the CCGs. Which, for those who might not know, who are listening to the podcast, CCG is a collectible card game. Now, with that, we're kind of curious. When and how did you start gaming?
I if we're talking about when did I start gaming, I started gaming since I was a little kid before I probably even like start knowing about what life was, and or like before I matured, I was already gaming. I was 3 years old. I can still remember. We call it family computer back then in Philippines. It's one of those old NES classic what do you call that, console from Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I can remember we were playing Charlie Circus there. If people are still familiar of what that game is, it's kind of like you're kind of like a clown, and you're like standing on this lion, and you're just passing by, and these like little like rings of fire coming at you, and you have to jump over them. And then the next stage, you have to like kind of balance yourself and walk through the line of string. And that's when I started gaming, like way back before I even knew how to spell my name.
That's incredible. Um, so, like, learning from the games like Charlie Circus and like developing into the CCGs, were there any other games that you enjoyed playing in the meantime? Like, now you typically play CCGs. What got you to that point?
It's actually weird because me with CCGs is me starting streaming as well. I wasn't planning to, you know, actually stream CCG. Uh, to be honest, when I started streaming, but this game called The Hand of the Gods came out by Hi-Res. It's a card game with a board in it, which kind of separates it from most card games because usually it's just basically one lane, or now we have Artifact with 3 lanes. But this one, it's not just your typical card game. Your cards come to life and they become 3D, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics, XCOM. the best way to explain it. And when this game came out, I remember I was just fascinated by the genre, by the theme, because I love the mythological stuff a lot. And so I started playing that, and I was heavily into Overwatch at the time when that happened. And I don't know, it's just kind of, I just kind of started playing it, and then the next thing you know, I started streaming it, and a few people stopped by in my stream, and then on the third day, I got hosted, and the whole experience of playing the card game has become more fun when other people started being involved in Twitch. And I think that's one of the reason why I got heavily into card game. And from there on, I just kind of stuck with it, because like a lot of people from this genre already kind of knew me. It was easier for me to branch out when it was time to branch out away from Smite Tactics
Mhm.
or Hand of the Gods. So I just kind of stayed with card game, and that's how I started with card games. Is with Hand of the Gods. But I
That's
did play card games back then, though. Like, sorry to cut you off. I did play some card games back then. I played Yu-Gi-Oh and Game Boy. This I forgot what it's called. It's like Eternal something something. And that's basically what I played back then. But I never really understood what I was doing, because at this time in my life, I didn't really fully speak English yet. I was still in Philippines, and I got a Game Boy, and then I got this game. It's basically, I was trying to look at the cards, like, what does this card do, instead of reading it. That's
yeah.
how I used to play card games. And sometimes I still catch myself today, believe it or not. I've I was talking about playing card games earlier. I actually has touched number one and defended the throne in Elder Scrolls Legends for 4 days. And believe it or not, for someone who reached number one in 17 hours of like a speed climb on the ranking ladders, I'm still one of those players who doesn't read. I,
That's incredible. Just like
I don't read the cards. I just see how what they do, and then I kind of remember them that way. And sometimes I don't even remember the name of the cards, and but I know what they do. So that's what I call them on whatever, that's how I name them, is on what their effect is. And
that's
I
actually
don't know, it's just weird
incredible.
like
I couldn't
that.
imagine like, learning how to be that good at a card game with just like trial and error essentially.
Yeah.
Just like learning what it does.
It proves to you that learning from your mistakes could actually be be a thing.
You're definitely not wrong there. Learning from your mistakes, if you can't do that, then that's where some people might falter. But like you took that, you learned from your mistakes, and the amount of
Yep.
success you've had just from trial and error is incredible. No.
Yeah, it's basically from that, because like if I'm just gonna rely on my skills with English, I'm not. I mean, I'm not the hardest person to understand when I'm speaking it, but it's still hard for me to pick up some of the stuff. Like when I'm exchanging emails with people, it takes me a little longer than most people before I fully understand it, because I gotta make sure that I don't misunderstand any of the wordings and stuff like that, because that's kind of like a step back for people like me, who has English as their second language. But every day we try to improve, right?
And
So
every day you're proving to people that it's something that can be done, and you're doing extremely well with it. Um, and we
thank
just
you.
have to ask through all of
Hmm.
this, like, how did you first get into Twitch? Like, what made you start streaming, bringing this uh, trial and error experience to the masses, as you might say?
Okay, I'm gonna actually be honest with you
Hmm?
guys with this answer. um I started my gaming career in Overwatch. I was in PS4 as number one support in the world, before I switched to PC, where the actual tournaments were. And when I switched to I felt like I was behind my mechanical skills, because of people have been playing PC for years, of course, and I was this new guy coming in, and I was still able to rank high on the ladders, but it wasn't enough to actually become professional in Overwatch. When they announced Overwatch League, I was one of those guys who thought that I had it what it takes to get in there, but it's tough, tough competition, and after 6 months before kept going, it's not that I give up. It's more of like I realized that if I'm gonna do this, it's gonna take longer, and I don't know if I have the resources to support myself to keep going with that. So a couple of months before I actually was planning to quit and doing all of it, I'm like, you know, I'm actually gonna start streaming. Maybe something will happen. I'll get a recognition and stuff like that. And I was just going around Twitch and hanging out, and I found this game, Hand of the Gods, like what we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
earlier, and downloaded it. The game was fun, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just turn on my Twitch just for the hell of it. Maybe someone will stop by and this and that, and I was a little nervous. I felt awkward, just like everyone else. But I did do my homework on Twitch before that. I just want to clarify that I'm not one of those streamers that just hopped on Twitch because I want to be a streamer. It's something that I wanted to do. When I found out that I wanted to be a streamer, this is something I'm interested in doing. I spent months while I was doing the competitive thing in Overwatch to learn more about Twitch. So by the time I actually started doing Hand of the Gods, and the first day I got a few people, and the awkwardness little by little it started went away, because like you got used to like talking to people, and they actually
Yeah.
stayed there for a couple hours, which was a really cool experience for someone new like me back then. And that happened, and because I did my homework. After that happened, I'm like, that's like 5-10 people that just stopped by and gave me a follow. Tonight they might come back tomorrow. I'm like, maybe maybe I actually has something that people want to see. So what I did right away is I started networking. that
Mm-hmm.
that is the most important part of my journey. Was from the beginning, I knew how important networking was. So I went on to Twitch and started talking to other people's chat, became part of the community, and invested that few days. And on the third day, I got hosted by JCat Gaming TV, and from there on, it just kind of took off. I became one of the top streamers for Hand of the Gods before that game started diluting.
That's actually incredible to be able to, in the third day to be able to like gain some recognition from another streamer, albeit, whether it was they saw what you do and they liked it or it was random.
Yeah.
Either way, on the third day, you realized that that was something that you had to grasp, hold on
Yeah.
to, and just, run with it. Um, and from there, you've played a couple of different card games on your channel, and we're curious, which
Mhm.
one was your favorite of all the card games that you streamed on Twitch?
This is a tough one. I get that question a lot, and it's hard to answer sometimes, because sometimes you're burnout with this and you're burnout with that. But if I'm gonna be honest with you, Hand of the Gods was the best card game I've ever played, and the reason why is it's just so different, and I never get bored of it, because the thing about card games, and I'm gonna be honest with everyone here. We're just humans, and we do go through burnout phases.
Mm-hmm.
And as a card gamer, if you're staring at the same freaking cards every day for 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, you can easily get burned out by it. But Hand of the Gods, not once have I ever actually felt burned out with that game. And I streamed that game for like 10 to 14, 15 hours at the time, because that's when the time when I just started. And I was getting all the recognition. I was grinding super super hard at that time. So that's
That's actually incredible. And I know it's something that you say a lot where, I I saw this in your pinned tweet and on your YouTube. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was actually really cool to like hear your story from the beginning into like where you have a video of you shaking the hands with Doc and saying,
Mm-hmm.
um, I grind a lot, I put in the time, and it's really cool that you were able to put in that time effectively because when the doc looked at your badge, he's like, we're going to turn this affiliation into a partnership.
Yep.
And that's something that gained a lot of traction on Twitter. There were so many retweets and likes on it, but I think at the core, that's
Mm-hmm.
something that you stuck with. You told him, I'm grinding, I'm working really hard, and you did. And 10 to 14 hours of streaming a day and not getting tired of that game is
Mm-hmm.
incredible. Um,
Yeah.
that's like,
At that time that that happened as well was the third week of me streaming, and I knew
really.
I love streaming, and I knew that this is the thing that I actually wanted to do. I invested money on myself right away, bought myself a ticket for TwitchCon, and I tried to network as much as I can. I met the doc there, and before I started streaming, I watched the doc a lot, and he's kind of like a acquired taste kind of guy, but if you realize that everything he does is for comedy and that's just his character that he does, that you'll actually enjoy his stream a lot. And me and my wife, we watch him all the time on we put him on Chromecast back then. So meeting him back then was kind of like I'm not gonna say a dream come true, because dream come true for me was me marrying the woman of my dreams, but like that was like one of the epic moments of my life, like seeing him. And I've been watching him for almost a year already at that time. And getting to shake his hands, and then him telling me that we're gonna turn that affiliate into a partnership soon. And I'm like, inside me, I'm like, F yeah, like we're gonna turn that
Yeah.
into a partnership soon. I'm like, I know you work hard. I'm like, I'm gonna work just as hard as you to maybe, someday get close to that point. And I was very inspired. And yeah, I did that 10 to 15 hours, and I did some 24-hour stream as well. At least like twice a month back then, once a month, to celebrate whatever the community was doing at the time.
That's it's such an enlightening story to like just hear that there was like something that streamers can be challenged with sometimes is complacency. Meaning people, they don't like the game they play, they do it just for like the audience, and they get bored, and that boredom like goes straight back to the viewers. And it's really inspiring to see that like you didn't have that complacency, and you're just willing to go and go and go and celebrate those milestones, even if it was like with 24-hour streams. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I try my best not to show that, sometimes I feel burned out, and I still stream the game. And I try my best not to show that. But when it's actually getting into me, I got to be honest with the people that I'm with or I'm tending to. Because if not, then it'll all be fake, and they're not going to get the real me. They're not going to get the Earlmeister that they went there for and they followed there for. And it's all just gonna be fake. And if it's fake, it's not fun. And
Hmm.
you know that's not what I'm about. So I'd rather tell them when I'm getting burned out of the game and move on to the next one. And if some of them follows me because they actually like what I do or who I am, then I'm more than thankful and more than willing to keep entertaining them. But some people, they also just watch you for that certain game. So that's kind of like the toughest thing as a streamer, to be honest. It's like expanding your channel. There are people that just watch you for that certain game that you play, and then there's people who watch you for who you are. And it's scary moving on to another game, because you're talking about cutting like 50 to 70% of your viewership.
Hmm.
And if this is your main thing, if this is a full-time job for you, you're trying to make this a full-time job, it's a tough decision. You do stay on a place where you're doing great, and you're getting a big recognition, but there's not a lot of room for growth anymore. or do you move on to another place where it feels like you're not really starting over, because you have people that are going to follow you there and watch you, of course, but you're weaker in that area, and it will take time before you get, in terms of like, um game in gaming terms, but your level there is still low, and it takes a while, and it takes a lot of grind before you can get up there again. Is that like, something you want to go through again, or is that something that you're ready for? It's a tough question for people to do that, the whole switching thing.
Yeah. And that's, I think, just with the nature of Twitch and the way the directories are handled, I think that's always going to be an issue and always something that's in the back of mind of like content creators. Because you hit the nail right on the head. There are people that watch you strictly for who you are as an entertainer, as a content creator, and people just for the game. Would you say that you kind of stick to the same genre of games, or when you're changing directories, do you kind of like bounce around? Like,
I
li-
I tried. Oh, sorry. Is
oh,
there
it's fine.
something you want to add to?
I mean, like there are a lot of collectible card games coming out lately. Either
Mm-hmm.
with Elder Scrolls or Hearthstone's remain popular,
Mm-hmm.
or Hand of the God. Like all these games. What do you think to you makes them like so enjoyable as well?
The thing for me, the most enjoyable part of it is um the strategy part. I'm a strategist. I like tactics. I like uh, just basically making plans and
Hmm.
stuff like that. When I was doing Overwatch back then, I was a shot caller. I made the plans, the plays, and all of that for my team. The strategy. How do we deal with this? What do we do in this stuff? That kind of things, and you know that's probably the biggest part of card games that I love, is the strategy. It's and also card games has that way of not only making it fun as a strategy game. You can also be creative with the way you make your plans, because you have in card games you have these stuff that you can make like archetypes,
Hmm.
or I don't know if I ever pronounced that right. I've been streaming card games for 1 year now. I don't ever know if I ever pronounced that right. Is it archetype or archetype? I don't know. But anyways, people people who've played card games before would probably know what I'm talking about. It's basically kind of kind of like uh the play style of your card, or
Yeah,
your
like
deck.
you can do either like you can do like trap decks, you can do ones that
Yeah.
like strictly just go off of like just straight
You have
damage
like
or like yeah.
aggro, you have control, you have combo, you have ramp, you have a lot of different stuff, and that is what I like about card games as well. It's a fun strategy game with a lot of like diverse ways to express yourself in it. And a lot of people don't understand it, because they're like, but they're just cards, Earl. They're just this and that. It's like, once you actually get into the game and you understand more about what this archetype that I'm talking about, and like how decks work, and the creativity that you can put in your deck, and you know sometimes even create a whole new meta without knowing it, just because you were
Hmm.
experimenting. That is the type of stuff that I like about card games the most, and the RNG.
Yeah. There's always
It,
RNG with the card games, yeah. Um
yeah, that feeling of like, oh, I need that card so bad, please give it to me. Heart of the cards, like Yu-Gi-Oh, and then you
yeah.
draw it on the perfect time, because like, bam, lethal. I love that. I love that feeling.
It's awesome to see so much passion surrounding the type of content that you have, and the ways you enjoy it. And just if anybody who's listening to the podcast or checking it out has any interest in starting a stream where they're playing collectible card games such as yourself, um, what are some common errors that you think they should watch out for? things that you might have experienced that you think that you can help them avoid.
They focus too much on the game. When you're a streamer, game is important, of course. You can't just, you know, do whatever you want, because then people would think that what you're doing is pointless and you're wasting their time, right? But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people forget about tending to their community or tending to their viewers or viewer if you're still just starting. You know, even that just one viewer that come in, that's the most important thing that you need to be doing as a streamer, whether whatever you're streaming in general, to be honest, is that you got to talk to the people. You gotta tend to them. You gotta make them happy at the same time. You know, it can't be just all about well, it's always all about them, but at the same time it's not always like all about them, because if you put all your attention then you won't be able to put on a show on
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing. So you gotta have to find the balance of that, and that's what a lot of people make a mistake with is um sometimes some people are they think of themselves as too good, and
Mm-hmm.
they think that having a rank and no personality is good enough, you know. Personality is very very important when you know when you're doing this thing, because like people want to connect with you and stuff like that, unless you're going to be one of those streamers that doesn't talk at all and doesn't put on a camera but still pull thousands of viewers. I mean, if you can do that, then be my guest, but that's
Yeah.
just super hard, you
Yeah,
know.
at that point, the community can just, entertain themselves.
Yeah.
And, would you say all of that translates to any streamer in general and not just, playing card
Yeah,
games?
of course, it goes to any streamer, but if, at the same time, you also have the exception of professional players as streamers, because there are professional players who don't have to talk anymore, but that's because their publicity is on the on is coming from the esport that they're doing. You know, them being like, for example, them being in league, right? Uh, they get that exposure from all these competition and stuff. When they get on, they don't really need to talk anymore because people know who they are. It's kind of like if LeBron James go ahead and stream right now, he doesn't need to talk, you know.
Yeah.
People would still watch him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he can have like minimal amount of interaction. There's always that exception, of course, but if I'm gonna give an advice in general for just regular streamers, and I say regular because I separate the streamers that are like, you know, Ninja and like Tim the Tat Man. Those guys, they can experiment. They have that free stuff of to do whatever almost what they want to do with their brand or how Twitch goes. They're
Mm-hmm.
the pioneers, you know. But if you're not them, don't try the other stuff that they're doing. You know, I see a lot of streamers that just starting and they're in Fortnite already. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're getting like one or two viewers over there, and they don't achieve any growth at all. And of course, it's different from everyone. There's probably some Fortnite streamers that made it doing that, but like, what are your chances? You know, you gotta be like true to yourself and find the a good directory where you can grow as well.
Yeah. Like earlier on the podcast, we had somebody on that said it's amazing to be true to yourself, but also be true to your content. And I believe you're 100% right. Where if you're true to yourself and your content, it'll be a lot better for you if you can find your content in another directory besides Fortnite or some of the more saturated titles. Um,
Yeah.
and now, with people that are able to gain exposure and things like that from esports teams or competitions, um, we're curious. Now, you're the stream team manager for Simplicity Esports.
Hmm.
Um, how long have you been involved with that?
Since the beginning of the year, I think I became their stream team manager around like around May.
Mm-hmm.
I think around May June. That's when I became their stream team manager. But I was there for them as their streamer for like a month and a half before that.
There you go. And now with that, what's it like to balance the growth of your own channel and also trying to help out the stream team, trying to help out Simplicity at the same time? Do you find that it's harder for you, or do you find that like Simplicity is a really good way that goes hand in hand, trying to grow both of them?
It can get tough sometimes because it's uh the it's like a judgment call for me whether to like focus on my stuff at the time or focus on me as a manager. The toughest thing is like, who do I want to be really?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to be Simplicity stream team manager, or do I want to be a streamer? And there are a lot of times where I ask myself like, someday I would have to choose, and hopefully I don't get to that point. But as much as as possible, I try to put just the right amount on my own channel and the right amount on Simplicity, balance kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. I try not to over focus on one or the other, but to be honest with you, this past 2 months I'm focused more on Simplicity than I am with my channel. I had a break during early November, or like before TwitchCon. I was in a car accident, so after like 2 weeks break, everything in the channel kind of like gone slow. It went a little slower than usual, and I'm kind of like, before I pick streaming back up, and I know these people are still there waiting for me, and they understand everything that's going on right now with my channel. I'm pretty open and discussive about that with my viewers. I don't hide that from them at all, and I let them know that right now I'm putting a lot more time in Simplicity because I know that when January comes and all of the holidays are over, I'm gonna go back to that 6 days again with 8 to 10 hours in my channel. So right now I'm just kind of trying to get everything out of the way for Simplicity, have get myself ready for next year for Simplicity, so I won't have to sit down for 8 hours doing stream team manager stuff,
Yeah.
and I can just do basically 5 hours or like 4 hours of it, and make sure that everything is going smooth on that end. So to answer that question, I think right now I am more focused with some Simplicity because a lot of good things are happening for
Yeah.
Simplicity as well. So I as a team, we believe in the rubber band effect. Um, that if one ever goes up, the other part of the rubber band follows up as well. So I'm very comfortable with that with the people that I work with. They're really supportive as well. Sometimes I would miss like a few days of streaming, and that is painful for a streamer. You
Mm-hmm.
miss a few days of streaming, you're talking about losing a good amount of your not a good amount of your sub, but a percentage of your sub, and also you use a percentage of your viewership,
Mm-hmm.
because some people kind of like probably went on to another streamer while you are away from that. But when I do all those Simplicity stuff and I miss my days, my teammates are very nice with their host. They would like help me out with a host or a raid to get my back with viewership wise. So
That's
I,
actually
I'm, I'm lucky to have that.
yeah. That's awesome that the team has your back. And
Yeah.
one thing that like a lot of streamers, they're kind of curious. Is it right for them to join a stream team? Is it something that everybody should pursue? Um, what are your thoughts on being on a stream team, or what benefits do you believe being in Simplicity brings?
Oh, there's a lot of benefits the stream team brings. It's definitely a good thing to have once you are ready to join a stream team. And yes, I do believe that there are channels that are not ready for a stream team yet, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. But yes, I do believe that there's a lot of benefits that you can get, but it depends on you though, on how you're gonna use that, you know, because some people they join a stream team and they're just there, they're sitting waiting for orders to be uh, pointed at them, and what to do and what not to do, that kind of thing. But if you know how to utilize that, then you're in a good place, because if your org is doing good with a lot of things, and they're giving you the publicity that you have, you can also milk the stuff out of the your org as well, you can use that your org's name for other opportunities that might bring you potential viewers, or
Mm-hmm.
might get you into an event that normally won't be able to get into, and not only that, of course, I can't discuss the other stuff that we have. Also, the tiny amount of the financial help that an org can give you as well. Well, it depends on what org or what stream team you're talking about, as well. The financial help that we were able to provide streamers also is a big thing, because at the end of the day, as streamers, we still have to pay our bills.
Mm-hmm.
And every bit and amount of financial help, it adds up after a while. It makes everything easier for you, and also orgs provide connections and stuff that you would normally do for yourself, I would do for my streamers. Things that I would that I would do for me, I do for them. If they need me to approach a game developer, if they need me to approach a certain sponsorship that they're very interested in, that takes a lot of load from their shoulders, because um they don't have to compose an hour long of email to make sure every words and every content that they want to put in it is perfect, so they get approved by the people that are partnering with them, and that that's basically like most of the things that you get from stream teams. And there's of course there's a lot of other things that I can still go on to, but like
Yeah.
that's hours and hours of talk. And if you're in a stream team as well, and you know how to network yourself, you're friendly, and you can work with people that's on the same level as you, and maybe sometimes even work with someone who's on a higher tier than you, higher level than you. Approach them and then tell them that, hey, this is my plan, and I believe that if I do this, I'm gonna get up to this level. When I get to this level, I'm gonna give it back to you, all the help that you give. Is that something that you're willing to do for me? Like you talk to people like that, and you'd be surprised what other streamers would tell you. That of course not, it's not always going to be a yes, but if they check out their channel and they saw that, hey, this dude got what it takes, and they'll work with you. But yeah, the there's a lot of benefits from stream team. Of course, it also depends on what stream team that we're talking about and what org
Yeah.
we're talking about, right?
And it sounds like a lot of stream teams, probably don't have someone as adamant in their role as you are. Like, it sounds to me like Simplicity is actually like really lucky to have you as a stream team manager, which is
Thank you.
pretty cool. Because, I mean, personally, I've been involved with a lot of stream teams, and I've never had a manager say, "Hey, I'll reach out for these opportunities, and I'll help you, reach out in these ways." So that's actually incredible. That's really cool.
I want to add to that, that this is the thing that separates me from other managers is I'm not working just for Simplicity.
Yeah.
I'm not just Simplicity's stream team manager. I'm those streamers' stream team manager as well. I make sure that everything that goes on between my streamers and the org is both fair on both sides. And I think that's one of the downside of a lot of stream teams or some orgs nowadays, is the stream team manager only works for the org. They don't work for the streamers, which becomes one-sided. And what ends up happening is the org just basically puts their stamp on these streamers, and then that's it. There's
Hmm.
no other connection that happens between them and the org itself. Sometimes they would talk in Discord and all of that, but there's no other personal connection that's happening in the back, or other than being in the org chat and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that makes, an incredible amount of sense. You know, it's just like you were saying how, simplicity stood for like the rubber band effect. If you don't have that connection with people, that true connection, then there's no rubber band. And if people grow, they can't, snap them with you. It makes
Yep.
sense. If there's no connection, there's no rubber band. And that's cool to see how that goes hand in hand. Um, Now, you've
You're gonna
done,
get left behind too if you're not.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And you've done so much as a streamer in the time that you've been on the platform, whether it was partnership or being successful through other directories or being the stream team manager. But what would you say that your biggest accomplishment on Twitch has been so far?
For me, my biggest accomplishment, to be honest, with you, I would say just knowing that people want to watch me is a big accomplishment for me already. Knowing that, like when I started streaming on the first week and turning my stream on, and there's gonna be a couple of guys waiting there, and then other people comes in and they start talking to you, and they follow that, they click that follow button, and they keep coming back. For me, that's the biggest accomplishment, having someone follow you and have them come back the next day because they can't get enough of your personality or your gameplay. That's the biggest accomplishment for me.
I love that answer. Personally, I love that answer. A lot of people would say it's their partnership or it's certain events they've attended, but realize that like people are people and they're soaking up what you have. That's I love that answer. That's the bottom line. That's an incredible answer.
Thanks,
Um,
sir.
and it's amazing like how through all this like how humble you've remained. And you're willing to scratch so many backs, and it's nice that your
Here's the thing
accomplishment.
that I
Yeah.
tell people: the moment you started making yourself believe that you made it, that's the moment you failed,
Yep.
because you're gonna stop trying so hard. You're not gonna be hungry for it anymore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you keep telling yourself, even though you keep getting new things added to your channel, whether it be sponsorship, partnership with game devs, or a new stream team, or a new org, whatever it is. You keep setting your goal up farther. Keep telling yourself, I'm still not close to that, I'm still not close to that. And because the moment you start telling yourself that you've made it, the moment you're gonna lessen your effort, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, because you're gonna be more comfortable. For me, that uncomfortability, as weird as this sounds, because you're supposed to be comfortable with your job, right? And all of that, you're supposed to be happy. But for me, that uncomfortability, the idea that I still haven't made it, no matter how much time I've put in, or for me it's only been like a year and a half, really, that's what really keeps me going. That's what keeps me, you know, it makes me improve myself. It makes me push myself harder, and I would like to keep it that way.
And
I
that's
don't want to slow down anytime soon.
extremely respectable. And like that's really what'll we feel like will keep when you go back to everything and holidays over and everything like that. You're just gonna keep pushing and you're gonna keep growing, and I think you're gonna find a lot of success. And with everything that's happened in the years that you've been streaming, uh,
Hmm.
we're curious. I'm sure a lot of people are curious as well. Were there any hurdles that you experienced when growing your channel that you didn't expect, and how did you overcome them?
Definitely a lot of hurdles that's gonna come, but one of the biggest thing for me was of course there's I'm gonna actually start with like the minor stuff is basically you gotta have a thick skin because there's some people that are just you know a little too much when it comes to wording their stuff, or sometimes they don't care at all with what
Mm-hmm.
they say. Like for me, I'm just gonna share this here. One of the worst experience that I have on that part, and I treat these stuff as minor things because I don't let them affect me, and it doesn't affect me at all. It's just more of like it's kind of annoying when it happens during at the time, but you just kind of have to deal with it. So one of the things that happened to me is like I have people that I had a person that came in my channel, and he was like, "Hey Earl, do you smell like noodles sometime all the time?" And I'm like, "Hey, why? What's up?" I'm like, "Well, you're Asian. You gotta smell like noodles all the time, right?" And I'm like, Dude,
It's
like, come
such an
on now."
odd question.
I know it's like I'm not even sure if that's a racist insult right there. It sounds like it, but it's just like those annoying things. Or I got raided by like a spammer. It's like a group of people. There's got to be at least like 5 or 10 of them that came in. Both my Discord and my Twitch was raided by these people who just basically spam the N word, the F word, and any bad word that they can add more in there, or any words that makes people uncomfortable. And they just basically spammed me with that, both in my Discord and in my Twitch. So I had to deal with that while I'm live. So that can be a hurdle, but that's just a minor part. The biggest hurdle that I've ever went through is hand of the gods dying on me. Because as the new streamer back then, when I just started, I picked up hand of the gods, and I skipped a lot of the struggles that most streamers went through, with just like basically having like 5 months of just like 5 viewers or 10 viewers in your channel supporting you. I'm one of the lucky ones who got to skip all of that. And I went through the high 2 digits and 3 digits, low 3 digits right away, when I started, and I got spoiled with that, if you may, like knowing that when I get on, that I'm always gonna be on the top of the directory. So when the game died, I was in denial that the game is dying, because I didn't want it to die, because my business is in there,
Mm-hmm.
right? My whole thing that I invested for 3 months is in there. Even went through High Res Expo HRX. I competed there. I actually got to one of the top 16 in the world for that game on the tournament. And you invest all this time and money as well, of course, and all of a sudden it dies. So now what do you do? What do I do? I was a little lost. What directory do I go to? And every directory that I go to, I couldn't pull 3 digits anymore. That's what made me worried, is that I couldn't pull 3 digits in my stream on the new directories that I went to. But then I forget, like, who the f am I? I'm not Dr. Disrespect. I'm not Ninja. If I switch to another directory, it's totally normal that I go back to starting, almost starting over again. Especially I've only been a streamer for 3 months at that time. So that is the biggest hurdle for me, was when the game died, looking for another place and keeping my morale high on this process, because a lot of the things that you're going to go through as a streamer is mental struggle, a lot of mental battles, and a lot of that is going to tickle with your morale. It's going to play with your morale, your endurance, your durability, when it comes to just streaming in general. Because there's a lot of times, I'm going to be honest with you, where I thought that something was happening for me, and Hand of the Gods, and then I asked myself, like, am I a dead streamer now? Now that Hand of the Gods is gone, like, what do I do? And I got lucky. I found a home in Elder Scrolls Legends. They accepted me there with a warm welcome, and a lot of the people as well from Hand of the Gods, when they quit Hand of the Gods, switched to Elder Scrolls Legends. So that kind of helped. But that would probably be my biggest struggle, is a game dying on me. I did not expect that at all. That didn't cross my mind back when I was starting as a streamer. The
Yeah.
only thing that was in my head is like, can I grow? Can I grow? Can I grow? And then you get to a point where you're growing, or you've grown in that channel where there's not a lot of opportunities for left for you anymore. On there, it's time for you to move on, and it's just like it was weird, as the first experience.
Yeah, as a content creator, it can be hard to maintain that composure when you have people coming in, and yeah, they might uh, try to get under the thick skin that streamers develop, and it can also be hard, like numbers, very hard for streamers, as as we talked about earlier. You can have people that are there for the gameplay, or they can be there for you, and it
Hmm.
almost feels like it's not necessarily an attack on you, but you can feel like you're doing something wrong as a content creator if that number can be a direct reflection of whether they like you or not. But getting
Yeah.
past that is definitely one of the hardest struggles and a hurdle. But um, there's a lot of things that might be in the works for you and that you've used to overcome it. You've done really well with the Elder Scrolls card game. Um, and with that, we've seen your growth and wonder if there's anything new, any big plans that you're going to be having for the channel that we should keep an eye out for.
There's definitely a lot of new things that's gonna happen for the channel this January. While I'm working with Simplicity at the moment, I've also been working a lot for my own channel. Um, uh, right now we're kind of like setting everything up, the people that we want to be partners with and sponsored with. We're basically getting all of that together to get ready for next year, and I'm gonna try my best to make 2019 my year. That's the goal. And with that goal, there's big steps and big risk that I have to do, and some of the people might not like it, that's been watching my stream, and some of them might like it, and one of those things that I'm planning to do is I'm moving out of Elder Scrolls Legends. I'm moving on to another card game, and also the channel is gonna be splitting the 6 days into a main game and a variety. I wanna expand a little bit more. I want to meet new other people that I probably wouldn't usually meet in Twitch, because I play a lot of card games and stuff like that. So basically, Magic the Gathering is is um, is the new thing for the Earlmeister brand. We've been partners with them. They've been treating us really well for almost a year now, and I have no complaints at all with my sponsorship with them. I don't even make as much content as I should for being partners with these guys, and for what that recognition and help that they've given back to me. And I think it's about time that I give that back. And it's also a great community, great fan base, and just a great directory in Twitch to grow on as a streamer and as a card gamer. So Magic the Gathering, that's gonna be big on what we're gonna be doing, and also we're gonna add variety days. So 2 of the 6 days that I do for streaming is actually gonna be variety. Whether it's gonna be a JRPG or a new game that came out, it's gonna be it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be random on those days as well. But even though it's random, I'm not just gonna be like, hopping on. Hey, this is what I want to play for today, guys. To go ahead and watch me play this. I'm still gonna have an actual schedule for 2019 starting on January. That way people know what we're playing on those variety days. Of course, we're gonna have like our regular days for MTGA, but for the variety ones, I'm gonna have a list. I'm gonna have people vote on it, and basically we're gonna be doing those for those days until we either finish the game or we get tired of that game, and then we'll move on to another one. To also, the reason why I'm doing this is to prevent burnout phase.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get burned out with the next thing that I want to do. So I'm gonna try to keep it colorful this time instead of just one game.
I like
And
that.
also, we're launching the YouTube. This is something that I promised months ago for the people that's been watching me. I still haven't like fully done that part, and that is one of the most important things that I need to start and do. So that's one of the main focus as well on 2019 is having a day dedicated just for video editing and basically putting out content for YouTube.
And this is all incredible. It's wonderful to see the passion that you have going into 2019 and what's going to happen. Now, myself and the team at OPSEAT are kind of curious about um, something that you use on the stream or something that you're going to continue to use.
Hmm.
We don't necessarily know what it is yet. Besides your OPC, what
Yeah.
would you say your favorite peripheral, your favorite item that you use to complete your stream is? That's either gonna, help you in 2019 or has helped you so far. Like, what's your favorite
This has
peripheral?
helped me so far. Um, well, of course, the seat is the one of the main thing because this is my best friend, my butt buddy for the whole stream, right? So this seat is keeping me comfortable. Aside from that, I would probably that's a tough question. I didn't even think of that. I would probably say um if I gotta pick, it's my stream deck.
Your stream deck?
Yeah, it makes a lot of things easier for me. Usually getting ready for a stream could take up to 30 minutes or maybe more, right? Doing all your stuff with my stream deck. I turn on my PC in the morning or afternoon, whatever time I'm about to stream. I have a whole folder where when I click that folder, everything that I click on that folder is basically to launch my stream. So instead of me clicking, opening, signing up, this, that, everything is programmed on that folder on the stream deck where I just press all of the buttons and then let my computer breathe for like a split second because I just basically like dump a whole workload of stuff for it to do. Um, so I just press all of that and then bam, everything is ready to go. I basically just do my tweet that hey, I'm getting ready, and then kind of check mic check really quick, and I'm good to go after that. And before I had that, it took me 30 minutes just to open and remember everything. With this, I don't have to remember anything because I know that everything is on there. That's what I made it for.
That's one of the tools that has come out not too long ago, but it's something that like changed a lot of the ways that streamers can utilize their time effectively. Um,
Yeah, and I
is
use it as a soundboard as well.
Yeah, it has so many tools, like whether it's launching the applications or the soundboard or even recording clips for Twitch and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, now, um, we know that you went to TwitchCon, and a lot of our team actually got to meet you over at TwitchCon.
Yep,
What
there
was
were very cool people.
what was your main goal of TwitchCon, and um, what was it like as a content creator? What was that perspective like?
Um, Going to TwitchCon, it's always been interesting for me, and I've always think of TwitchCon as a business trip. For me personally, as a streamer, when I go there, I mean the fun is always gonna be there,
Yeah.
right? It's hard to just avoid the fun. But me going in there, what's in my head is basically network, market, network. That's all that's running in my head while I'm on that event. Aside from, of course, meeting the people that support you. That's always on top of the list as well. Because some of them they went there just to basically meet you and the other streamers that they look up to, right? That your fans and stuff like that. But aside from that, the main thing that's on my head is networking and marketing. I try to meet as many streamers as I can, whether they're big or not. And also, it's on top of the list to meet the important people that I think I can benefit from, not by leeching from them, but by having a conversation with them and having some of the things or the plans that you have for your channel. Um basically you're trying to get their approval, kind of
Hmm.
thing, without asking for their approval. You ask if what is viable and what is not, when it comes to strategy and when it comes to doing things. That's like one of the main things that's in my head. Learning is one of the top words or keywords that I have as well, aside from networking and marketing, is learning. There's so much things to learn in TwitchCon. There are so many things that you can pick up from other people just by talking to them that you probably never even thought of. That, and also it's a content galore. One of the things that I tell people is TwitchCon is basically a place like almost worth of a year load of work as a streamer. And it's almost an exaggeration, but for some it's not. Like the way it happened with me in 2017 TwitchCon, with the video that you watch with Dr. Disrespect. That definitely helped me. That one video helped me get myself be exposed out there. And not only that, not only those videos, the pictures, the people that you're gonna meet, you can tag them on Twitter. And every day as a content creator, you're always thinking of, what am I gonna do, like what's something new that I can do, what can I show my viewers today, what can I do with my viewers today. And basically TwitchCon has so many of those stuff, you know constant posting on Twitter, and then and Instagram, and on your Discord. People love that. And a lot of people might cringe on it, and that's I want to add that as well, because a lot of streamers, they get cringed out a lot by a lot of things. And what they don't know is, whenever they do that, is they're cutting the cords with the opportunity stuff that connects it. And if you can get past through that, and be active on your Twitter and Instagram and all of that, when you go to events like that, you can definitely benefit from it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question
Oh,
right
that
there. That kind
it
of talk a
answers
little bit
it
more.
perfectly. With and it's really cool to be able to see how you take your love for strategy and card games, and even take that strategic mind that you have and
Mhm.
implement that in the success that you find on Twitch, or the success that you will find going forward. Because as you said, if you feel like you're there yet, you haven't actually made it. So like,
Yeah,
just continuously like providing those goals and maintaining connections, as you keep going is wonderful, and that's a fantastic
rel-
mentality to have. Yeah,
I like that you
brilliant.
said that, like maintaining connection, because that's one of the things that I tell people and I specialize in, is you have to take care of your relationship with people. in the industry, whether it's a sponsor, a partnership with the game dev or another streamer. You have to take care of all of that, because not only that someday you might be able to benefit from them, but also there's just like, you know there's just so many opportunities that you can get if you have good good connection with people. And you'll be surprised, because like at first when you start doing this business, you don't have that network yet that you wish to have. And as you build it in the beginning, it doesn't feel like it's happening. But what you didn't know is you actually planted some seeds that later on would give you an opportunity, right? So I just wanted to emphasize that connection part that you were talking about. And because that's one of the most important thing in the business, in my opinion. Is
Extremely important, without a doubt. And whether you're doing it as a content creator or as a viewer or as a mod or as a company, it all goes hand in hand. And all of us here, including myself at OPSEAT, just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
no
Is
problem.
there anything else you wanted to leave us with before you go?
um Nothing really, just a last advice: stay true to yourself. If you're trying to be a streamer, and you're doing this for money, get out of this career now, because it's not gonna happen for you if you do it for money. I mean, the money will come there. Of course, at the end of the day, we still need that money, but don't make that your main goal. Because a lot of people are making that their only reason, or one of their main reason why they go into Twitch, because money is good. The moment you do that is the moment you're not gonna get any viewers anymore, because that will transfer to your viewers, that feeling, and no one wants to support anyone who's a gold digger. And also yeah, also a lot of sacrifice needs to be made, or make, whatever is the proper English for that, when you're doing this career. And one of the things that a lot of people are doing as a mistake is they're they're addicted to gaming in general. But I'm addicted to gaming, but you still have to have control, because when you're addicted to gaming, you don't set yourself or you don't treat your stream as a business, where you basically stream Fortnite or PUBG for 10 hours and not gain any growth. You have to sacrifice that. But it's like, hey, Earl, you said be true to yourself. I love playing PUBG. I love playing Fortnite, and that's how I stay true to myself. That's not what I mean by that, and you will find that out if you ever actually try to stream. But what I'm trying to say is, try to find something more along the lines of like lower than top 20 on the directory, around like maybe 3,000 or lower viewers. Start with that if you're a new streamer, and grow there first. And once you're ready, then go for the games that you're dreaming to play on the stream, or dreaming to just do as for a living. But you got to start somewhere, and starting on the biggest directories and Twitch is not the best place. You're going to be wasting your time. I've met streamers. I've dealt with streamers who've been streaming for 5 years, 3 years, way longer than me. And I'm not trying to compare myself with them, but they haven't gained any growth that they deserve, because no one can see them. They're in the bottom of the directory. And it takes 5 minutes to scroll down. And even if you tell me what their name is, and I scroll down on that directory, I bet you I still wouldn't find them, because there's just thousands of people down there.
Hmm.
But other than that, that's basically my last words from this podcast.
We truly appreciate it, and we 100% agree. It's all about using your time effectively, and we
Positioning.
yeah, positioning. And you've had some amazing tips, and you've shown with yourself like the amount of success that you've gathered. And we just want to again say thank you for joining us on the OPC podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well for having me. I've appreciated a lot. And